Hello everybody, Shotgun into 1000 reporting for duty, welcoming you back to more Pokemon HeartGold. In the last episode, we beat the Azalea City gym leader and also our rival that was originally known to be Silver, but I thought it was Null. I tried to research Null and it ended up auto-correcting it to Noel from the Pokemon anime. Which I actually never heard of that anime character's name before in my life. This episode, we are entering Ilex Forest, which is a new a new area to explore, obviously, but also we have some new encounters to be gotten here, and sure enough, yeah, encounters will be spawning here like crazy, because every tile in this forest is exactly the same ratio as when you're exploring a cave. You will have wild Pokemon spawn in like mad. Head over here. Oh man, my boss is gonna be angry. The farfetch'd that cut trees for charcoal took off in the forest. So I kind of like botched the whole thing up there. Can you catch them for me? Farfetch'd has sensitive ears. If you step on a branch, they will face towards you. That's your chance. Sneak up from behind and catch them. Do you think you can do that? And what it says there is actually the case, because here, this is actually going to show the demonstration. You walk on the twig, and Farfetch'd will automatically face the direction of where the sound came from. You want to make sure you do not talk to Farfetch'd from the side. You have to talk to Farfetch'd from behind. You snuck up and caught it from behind before it noticed you. You get automatically sent back. Wow, you found a Farfetch'd, thank you. But there's one more missing. If you step on a branch, it will face away, remember? That's your chance to catch it. Sneak up on it slowly from behind. And that Farfetch'd is found over here. Now, while I'm doing this, the new encounters you can find here, and honestly, they're both not really too great. The first one is Oddish. Now, the thing is about Oddish is that I feel like this is a Bellsprout bio all over again. It has roughly the same base stats as it, same type, same method of evolving, of leveling up, then Evolution Stone. But what's interesting about Oddish is that now it has a split evolution, because in Generation 1 it was only given one evolution, being Vileplume, which you had to get by evolving into a Gloom and then evolve it with a Leaf Stone to get a Vileplume. And yeah, if you get a Leaf Stone, you'll be able to get a Vileplume, but a brand new Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 2, if you find yourself a Sunstone, it will evolve into a Bellossom. And what I find actually weird about the whole thing about a Sunstone evolving Gloom into Bellossom is that it actually gets rid of the poison typing. I have no idea how a Sunstone is able to get rid of the poison type of the Pokemon, but honestly, it is an interesting Pokemon in its own way. The most powerful move it learns by leveling up by using the stones, is Petal Dance at level 53, which is a 90 power special grass move that confuses the Pokemon from Freticue after using it for 2 to 3 turns in a row. I did not mean to do that. But the other new Pokemon that you can actually find here, and it's actually the worst, Paras. I honestly do not know about your opinions about this Pokemon, but I hate this Paras with a grudge. It is a bug grass type that has a quad weakness to both fire and flying types. And what's even worse is that one of his main abilities is Dry Skin. And if you're wondering about that ability, it prevents the Pokemon from taking any damage from water type moves, and it also heals up the Pokemon's HP when stood inside the rain, but it also boosts the power taken from fire type moves. And with him already having a ×4 weakness to fire, that means it's the one and only Pokemon that has his ability make it even more worse for the wear, because that means you have a ×5 weakness to fire. The other main ability is known to carry is Effect Spore, which has a random chance of activating if you make direct physical contact that can cause either poison, paralysis, or sleep. And knowing the fact that the Pokemon is not even remotely defensive, the only time the ability will ever work for you is if you lead off with Parasect, who is his full form, and then just hope for the best that the ability does indeed activate to give you the right ability, right status condition for your opponent, and then just hope for the best that it helps you remain the team. But there is one move that Parasect can actually learn, which can be helpful, but at the same time, with Parasect not being really fast, you're more likely not going to get good use of it. It can learn Spore. Spore is a 100% accurate sleeping move. And that's all I have to say about it. There are some more encounters you can actually get in Ilex Forest, but we're going to hold off on that for some time because, well, you kind of get the picture. So there you go. We found both Farfetch'd. The boss's Pokemon won't obey him because he doesn't have a gym badge. And there's the boss. Ah, my Far and Fetch'd. You found them for us, kid. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to cut trees with charcoal. Thanks, kid. Now, how can I thank you? Oh, I know. Here, take this. We obtain HM01 Cut. I would have actually gone over what this HM would have been in the very first LP I did of Pokemon being, well, let's go Eevee. I would say the very first Pokemon game I ever did full stop was Pokemon Coliseum, but yeah. Basically what Cut does is, it is a HM move, like Rock Smash. It is 50 base power, 95% accuracy, and it will allow you to cut those small trees anywhere on the battlefield, anywhere on the field. But the only thing is though, if you taught a Pokemon the HM full stop, there's no way you can get rid of it at all until later on in the game. So we're going to teach Cut to Centrent. We'll just get rid of Foresight. I know Foresight would actually be a good move for Centrent to have because it will allow her to hit Ghost type Pokemon. And sure enough, we do need Cut for this tree over here. If you actually leave Ilex Forest and go back to Acelia Town, you will find these guys in their home, and they will indeed give you the held item of Charcoal. Now, Charcoal, as a held item, it actually boosts the power of fire type moves for the holder. And yes, you want to get that item if your starter Pokemon is exactly the same as mine. Okay. We are going to get jumped on by a lot of bug types here. I could use this as an excuse to battle against the wild Pokemon to give Ghastly some experience. But honestly, don't waste your time with battling wild Pokemon because you're only going to get at least 20 experience as best with a lot of the encounters. Because from one thing I've actually learned about wild encounters when it comes to experience, the rarer the Pokemon, the more experience you get. If a Pokemon is known to be very, very common, like Caterpie, you're not going to get so much. And when I said in a previous episode about Magikarp, saying it's the worst Pokemon ever, I'm not kidding. Only knowing Splash until level 15, where it learns Tackle, and then learns Flail at level 30, it's not a good Pokemon to battle against in the wild. Oh, there's Paras. It's not a good Pokemon to battle against, full stop, because every single time you battle a wild Magikarp, he's only going to give you roughly 8 experience. Now, you're probably thinking, why am I going down this way? Well, you see, there is a guy on the screen before we got jumped on by a Metapod. And you want to talk to this guy. What am I doing? I'm shaking trees using Headbutt. It's fun. Here, you try it with your Pokemon too. You want this move. Trust me. Apparently you can teach it to any one of your Pokemon, which is very weird. But the number one Pokemon we want to teach it to is, of course, Centrent. We'll get rid of Defense Curl. And yeah, you can actually talk to him and teach Headbutt to your Pokemon at any given time. And the only thing is though, if this was the original Gen 2 game of Gold, Silver and Crystal, he would actually give you the TM for Headbutt. But since this is a Gen 4 remake of the original Gold, Silver and Crystal, then you know straight away that is not going to be helpful. And what he actually says there about with the move Headbutt, he doesn't actually say this, but I'm going to mention it to you right now. Yes, you can Headbutt these trees, and there's a random chance you can find yourself a wild Pokemon by headbutting those trees, and I will go over them right now. One Pokemon you can find is Pineco. Pineco isn't the easiest Pokemon for me to go over, really, because it's known to be a bagworm Pokemon, yet it looks like a Pineco. It does evolve into a really good defensive typing of Bug and Steel, because it only has a quad weakness to fire, nothing else. The only problem about Pineco though is that it can hardly learn any decent attacking moves, apart from Bug Bite at level 9 and Gyro Ball at level 50 after evolving into a Fortress at level 31. When evolved, the move Gyro Ball becomes significantly useful for it based on how slow it is with a base stat of 40, and its base physical attack is 90. But you got to be careful when you meet a fire type Pokemon, because one special move and you will lose Fortress unless it has Sturdy for the ability. Other Pokemon that you can find is Execute, which are basically eggs, but they're known to be coconuts or whatever. If you're wanting a good grass type or psychic type Pokemon, you won't find it here. Execute, when fully evolved by a Leaf Stone into Exeggutor, can be outsped by many bug types. Fortunately though, we've already dealt with the bug type gym, and bug types are not going to be very common from here on out now. But still, It's known to have a quad weakness to bug. Its special attack might be interesting to work with, but I can't see it being able to adapt to use at least one move unless you are lucky to be battling a Pokemon that isn't either a bug type or is able to learn a powerful attack. It can learn Solar Beam at level 43 and Psychic at level 47, but if you evolve Execute before then, you will miss out on your chance on learning those moves until you get their TMs, which is not until very, very late in the game. So be hesitant about that. And guess what? There's a lot more Pokemon that you can find here. We're going to be spending the rest of the episode going over this, so I'm going to do it right now. You can also find Tangela. Tangela has been given an evolution in Generation 4, which I could technically go over, but we are going to wait until the Sinnoh game of Platinum, Diamond and Pearl. Tangela is a hard Pokemon to work with, really. I have a story about this Pokemon one time, and I'm not actually kidding about it. Not sure if I've already mentioned it in Let's Go Eevee, but there was one time I went into an area in this game. I'll show it to you on the map. You see this over here? Mount Silver. Yeah, you can actually go to that place. I went there. Found myself a wild Tangela. It was a shiny. And yes, it was also my very, very first ever shiny Pokemon ever to be found in the wild without using an action replay or that it was story exclusive. And I ran out of Pokeballs. It took me 55 of my Pokeballs to try and catch that Tangela, who was at red health, might I add, and I didn't catch it. He broke free out of every single one, and I was forced to knock it out. But going over about Tangela full stop, I didn't actually know you could actually find a Tangela by headbutting trees, because I thought the only area you can find him in the wild is on Mount Silver. So yeah, we're not actually able to encounter that area for a long, long time, but I can mention this about Tangela. It's not known to be really fast. It can only learn normal and grass type moves, almost like the Chikorita family in a way. That's all I can honestly say about that. Another Pokemon that you can technically find, and you were actually able to find this Pokemon very early on in the Ruins of Alph, but is only in the grass, and we couldn't actually access the grass. You can find Natu. Natu is a psychic flying type that can be an interesting Pokemon, but it's not known to be really good defensively. It evolves into Sartu at level 25, where its highest base stat is 95 under both special attack and speed. Half the time it wouldn't be able to do one shot a lot of... So actually, it won't be able to one shot a lot of Pokemon, and it can pretty much be an easy Pokemon to knock out itself. And there is another story I actually have involving Natu. In a competitive battle in Generation 6, I used a Natu, and I was up against somebody who was using a Mega Evolved form of Rayquaza. I used Confuse Ray, and I thought Sartu was going to get knocked out because he was actually the last Pokemon standing in my team. Rayquaza hurt himself in confusion every single turn, and I actually won the battle thanks to Sartu using Confuse Ray. That was the most luckiest moments I've ever had in my entire life of using Confuse Ray full stop, and it's never happened again since. And that's pretty much what I can say about Natu. The final Pokemon I'm going to be talking about this episode, though, is Apom. Apom is a brand new Pokemon introduced in Generation 2, the mysterious monkey that everyone tends to forget about. This Pokemon was also given an evolution like Tangela in Generation 4, but that can be saved until Sinnoh once again. Because this Pokemon, honestly, nobody ever uses. It's known to be fast, which can have its uses, but with its other stats being pretty low, you can see how easy it is to knock this Pokemon out. It has a base attack of 70 and special attack of 40, which is normal to understand, but what I don't understand is why it can learn Nasty Plot at level 39, when the only special attacking move it can learn by leveling up at level 22 is Swift. It can learn other special moves by TMs, but that's about it. I wouldn't even suggest wasting your TMs on this Pokemon by any means necessary, even if you was to use this Gen 4 evolution, which you can technically get in this game, but like I said, I'm not going over it until Pokemon Platinum, Diamond and Pearl. So that's basically all I've got time for this episode to talk about the bios. There's one more Pokemon left you can find when headbutting trees, but it's specifically in Azalea Town. And I'm going to be trying to find it. And the reason why is because I'm going to be using it for my team. Who's that Pokemon, you might ask? You'll find out next time. See you guys then.